Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Luffy and Nami stuck in same island part 1. Before I start, please do support for more awesome content and subscribe my channel and like this video. Let's start this video. So a quick recap, we encountered some strange group of pirates. After Luffy and them kick their asses, their captain uses his pulled out of his devil fruit and teleports me and Luffy to a strange jungle island in the middle of the new world with nothing but our clothes and each other. That sounds about it, doesn't it? She says, talking to a frightened rabbit who nods quickly before running back into the brush. She sighs, they really only have anything they were carrying. She has her log pose, but realizes it won't do much to help their situation on an island they know nothing about. She had left her Klimatak next to her chair since Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji Kinda took care of everything. She whimpers, sitting on the warm sands of the beach. She gazes out into the clear blue ocean, a nice view, Kinda hot, in her usual jeans and bikini top. Probably the worst outfit to wear on an island like this. She hears a small rustling in the brush, feeling a little fearful. She stands up, walking backwards to the water before feeling relief and a little pissed. These animals are no joke. He grunts, covered in dirt and grass. He dusts himself off, dropping a pile of sticks, a pile of rocks, and a pile of leaves on the beach. She sees him glance around before noticing her smiling and waving. "Watch it, boy, over there. Come over here. I could use some help." He calls out to her. She sighs. She never thought she'd be stuck on an island with him, but she's also relieved that it is him rather than Zoro and Sanji. As he sets up a fire, she watches how he creates sparks from clashing the stones, igniting a small fire on the pile of wood. He gently blows on it, spreading the fire further. He had asked her to carve a bowl made of wood, even showing her how to do it. She wonders how he knows all these things, and why hasn't he even considered using this knowledge before he became Pirate King. Her mind wanders for a moment on how he could know all this. As she carves with a sharpened rock, she slices her thumb, yelping as she drops the wood carving and the rock, whimpering as blood seeps down her thumb. He quickly rushes over, having a small bowl of warm water. He dips her hand in, wiping over her cute gently. "Are you okay?" he asks, carefully cleaning her thumb. She calms down, staring at his calm expression. "How do you know all this?" She hears him chuckle, pulling her thumb out of the warm water. He rips a piece of his vest off, wrapping it around the cut. "I lived on an island like this for 2 years, you'll learn a thing or two. Does it still sting?" he says, holding her palm closed on the covered wound. "Kinda," she murmurs. He smiles, lifting her hand. "Keep pressure on this." He pats her hand, picking up the sharp rock and carving as he finishes the bowl. He walks back into the forest, and a little pond nearby fills the bowl, placing it over the fire in a dip between the circle of rocks on the fire. "Sorry," she says, feeling guilty for giving him all the work. "As long as you're okay," he says, grabbing a leaf covered in berries and setting another little bowl of water next to her. "I gotta get some meat, I'll be right back. Stay next to the fire and never leave this area," he says. An uncomfortable feeling boils in her stomach. She watches him stand up, turning to the forest. She grabs his vest desperately. Luffy calls him. She couldn't trust him more, but she doesn't want to be alone. He turns to her, sighing. He crouches down again in front of Nami. "We can't spend our entire time here eating berries, or at least I can't. I can't bring you with me cause I don't know if I can protect you in there. I'm serious about the animals being dangerous. Please just stay here, I promise I'll be back." He holds her hand tightly, not painfully. Her stomach turns at his words. She doesn't want to be alone, but she trusts him to come back. She nods silently, looking away from him. "I promise I'll be back as soon as I can." He takes off his hat, placing it on her head. She feels instantly relieved, calm, and no longer worried. She gazes back at him, nodding to him. He smiles. "There you go. If I don't make it back by noon, you can hit me all you want." He grins, chuckling. Her face instinct smiles at his giggle, a warmness going up her spine. He boops her nose before dashing into the forest. She blushes, embarrassed she couldn't get him back because she sits on the beach next to the fire. An hour passes as she looks around at the beautiful scenery and picks a little berry off the pile he's collected, a very fruity taste with a hint of sour. The sound of waves and a small breeze as the trees sway gently, creating a gentle atmosphere soothing her heart. But the soothing ends with a loud rustle from behind her and a loud grunt. Startled, she turns to find Luffy carrying a giant carcass on his back, dropping it on the beach. He pants, covered in little cuts and dirt. "This bastard is having dinner tonight," he exclaims, grabbing the pointy rock. He rolls the carcass on its stomach, slicing the beast open. Nami gags, looking away from the sight. As she stares at the fire, she sees him out of the corner of her eye, turning to him to see his hands, arms, and covered in blood as he takes off the bowl of water from the fire. "You kinda gross, I know." He chuckles, getting a disgusted expression from her. He laughs, turning back to the carcass. She once again contemplates how he could learn all this in 2 years. As she thinks, he once again sees him, placing a leaf over the hot rocks. He puts the animal's giblets on the leaf, gagging again at the sight of the animals. "Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Imagine how good it tastes once it's cooked." he says, salivating at the meat. She groans at his humor, still amazed he can love meat after opening up an animal and ripping its ass out. Oh, by the way, if you want something better for the jungle, I'll get some animal skin ready in a few days if you want to cut out some clothing, he suggests. She thinks about dressing in animal skin, finding the idea to be quite fashionable. Sure, but it'll be ready in a few days. She asks, confused. Well, I had to wash off the flesh from it, now it just needs to wring out. He explains. For the first time she's shocked by his intelligence and is grossed out by the idea of flesh still being on the skin. Okay, I get it. She quickly retorts, feeling disgusted, hearing him chuckle as he walks away. As she stares at the fire, she wonders if the rest of the crew is okay, and what of the Sunny. As they eat the cooked meat, she glances over at the little shack on the beach, the floor covered in leaves and walls of wood logs. We can sleep in there, it'll be better than staying out here in the cold, he says, taking another bite of his meat. She stares in awe as he favors his food, giving her more food than himself. Luffy. Why do I have more food? She asks, feeling like it's the end of the world. You need the strength. After all, you're the smartest one here. He explains, drinking the water from the bowl. I haven't done a damn thing. She shouts, feeling like he isn't giving himself the credit he deserves. He gulps, but Nami, I can't make a map of the island or keep an eye on supplies. He says. Honestly, you've been doing everything. If it wasn't for you, I'd be starving and cold. Or even worse, I'd probably be dead. She yells, passing him more meat, cause she doesn't really eat a lot anyway. Please eat. She pleads, knowing he's the only one who can keep them safe and alive. He groans, taking one more look at her solemn expression. He takes the meat. She didn't realize the implications of the small hut he made. He's in front of the entrance while she's deeper in. He piled up more leaves for her, hopefully making her spot softer. While she doesn't mind sleeping with him, it's just really cold. The leaves aren't doing much, but it's better than nothing. She glances at him, seeing his torso expand and deflate slowly, hearing small snores from him. He has less leaves than her and is still sleeping on this cold night. She whimpers, taking the leaves with her. She crawls behind Luffy, snuggling against his warm back as she seeks warmth. She closes her eyes, feeling warmer, but she soon feels him shift before feeling something warmer cover her as she's nuzzled in his back. She feels it, it's his vest. He took it off and gave it to her as she snuggled against his bare back. She opened her eyes slightly, seeing small cuts. They seemed fresh. As she snuggles against his back, hugging his waist, she closes her eyes, pressing her head into his back gently, and she falls asleep, finally feeling warm. She wakes up hot, feeling herself sweating under the leaves and feeling a wetness in her jeans as they stick to her skin. She groans, disgusted, opening her eyes. She sees herself alone in the hut. She sits up, her bikini top slipping off from the sweat showing her nipples. She quickly retires her top, making it tighter. As she walks out of the hut, she unbuttons and strips off her jeans, really feeling how soaked they are in sweat. As she pulls them down, her bottoms go down with her. Not caring, she grabs the string, pulling them back up as she steps out of her jeans. She bends over, feeling her sweaty legs groaning, picking up her jeans, feeling the sweat soaked into them. I wanted to say you can eat, but you seem to be dealing with something else. She turns to see a staring Luffy holding up some meat and berries. She blushes, knowing she just showed off her to him. She pouts, tossing her jeans. She storms to the water, taking a small dip to wash off the sweat. As she rises from the water, she gazes at him, his sweaty tanned muscular form sitting on the beach. She can't believe that childish boy from a few years ago would become such a man. She dives back into the water to clear her head of the thoughts. As she swims to shore, walking out of the water to dry land, her slender body dripping in water, she her wet hair back, feeling refreshed. Aren't you lucky? He says, chuckling. She turns to him. Well, you can wash all that sweat off. I have to sit here and soak in it. He laughs. She glances at his dripping wet, gulping. You can take a dip if you want, I'll be here. She suggested a favor for warming her up last night. Really? He shouts, jumping up excitedly. Her hot Luffy image shatters to pieces as he childishly runs to the edge of the water. She crouches next to him, seeing his cute expression as he gazes at the clear water in amazement. You're cute. He turns to her, confused. Huh? She gasps, covering her mouth, blushing as she realizes she said that out loud. And nothing. She flusters, falling into her butt. She groans, hearing him laugh at her. She grumbles, pushing him forward into the water. He splashes for a bit before gasping for air, holding himself up as water drips from his hair. She laughs at his goofiness. He turns to her, giggling as he splashes water in her direction. She scoffs at getting into the water, splashing him back. He laughs, struggling to get up as his legs wiggle from the seawater, but falls back as she splashes him again. Doofus, you can't win. She laughs. He grins, standing back on the beach. He runs to the camp, grabbing a bowl. He runs back. She gasps, running as he fills the bowl and chases her from the beach, launching the water at her. She falls into the water as he falls back on the beach, laughing. She growls, giving an evil smirk. She unties her top, filling the cups with water. She walks onto the beach, dumping the water in his face. He sits up spitting, turning to her with a grin as she looks down at him with a smirk. She gasps, seeing a little blood leak from his nose. He gasps, covering his nose. She feels a shiver run down her spine and immediately covers her, turning away and ties her top back on. Sorry, that doesn't happen. He says. She can hear the nervousness in his voice. You're fine, I shouldn't have done that. I didn't think you were guy captai, and she teases, giggling to hide the fact she enjoyed knowing he thinks about her like that. I swear it's never happened before. He says, standing up. He wipes the blood from beneath his nose. She giggles, seeing his adorably embarrassed expression. I'd expect something like that from Sanji, but not you, she teases. He groaned, walking back to the fire. I was surprised too. As he walks back, she follows next to him, smiling cutely at him as he smiles. If we're teasing each other, then I'm gonna bring up what you did a few minutes ago. She blushes, turning away from him. How was I supposed to know you were there? She turns back to his same smile. Did you at least enjoy what you SAW? She takes another chance at teasing as they reach the fire. If I say yes, can we never talk about this again? He hands her the food. She makes an audible sigh. We don't have to tell the crew about any of this. She sits next to him, picking up some berries and tossing them into her mouth. As they sit, eat, and dry off, she glances around, seeing the skin. Are they ready yet? She asks. He shakes his head. Another day. He says, chewing the meat in his mouth. Sorry, it was so cold last night. If we had the skin, it wouldn't have been that much of an issue. He explains. She imagines her body draped in animal skin as her fur coat seductively falls off her shoulders. It's fine, I just kinda wish we had a bed. She sips her water, thinking about her bed on the boat. I miss the crew. She admits, feeling homesick as she thinks about Sunny, her roommate Robin, and their friends. I have faith. They're alive, I know it. They'll find us and we can continue sailing. He chuckles, biting another piece of meat off. She holds her knees close to her, thinking about their adventure before he became king of the pirates. Better times for sure, as she thinks about how much her life changed because she met this rubber goofball. She glances at him eating, noticing more scars than yesterday. What's going on? She asks. He stops eating, turning to her confused. What's up? She scoots closer, staring into his eyes. Why do you have more cuts? What's going on? She repeats. He grins, giving her his hat again. I told you the animals are tough here. I'm thankful they haven't made it to the beach yet. He says, going back to eating. And you beat them with some other shit. She retorts, wondering why he's having trouble with these animals. It's not doing much, I really have to hit him hard. She groans, hearing that. Strong animals. Kinda reminds her of that time she got kidnapped by Shiki. He had saved her then. I want to build a treehouse. He says blatantly. She looks at him confused. A treehouse? Why? She asks. It's off the ground, high up so we can see farther, and I bet I'd look pretty nice. He grins. She imagines a big beautiful treehouse with a queen-sized bed just for her. That sounds lovely. I mean, a good idea. She says, but confused on how they leave and attempt a treehouse. But how are we gonna make it? She asks, getting a shrug from him. She loses all hope in her fantasy. Me and my brothers made one when I was little, I can probably do it again with your help. He smiles at her. She sighs, knowing probably what she has to do. Okay, let's do this. She tries to pump herself up. He chuckles up at her. It's taking some hard work to get it done. As she thinks of proper and logical ways to put it together, he collects necessary materials such as logs, leaves, vines, etc., taking a full week to complete. As they get the outside done, make a spiral staircase as it leads up to the treehouse with a large spacious living room, a closet room to the left, a big bedroom to the right, and a balcony across from the entrance. They just finished sitting in front of the fire as they mushed the berries to a liquid state, drinking it down, kinda gross, but still tasting fruity. Finally, we're done. He shouts, pumping his hands in the air. Nami exhaled, finally feeling relaxed in front of the fire, as she showed up the bed and a few clothes she wanted to try out. Thank God we finished, I never thought we'd get it done in a week. She says, gulping down the drink. He chuckles. It's all thanks to you. He lifts his bowl to her, chugging it down. She scoffs. Me? You did all the heavy lifting and put it together. She raises her bowl to him. If it wasn't for him they would have never gotten this far. But I have one question. She turns to him confused, wondering what his gripe is now. Why is there only one bed? He says. She sighs. Is he seriously talking about that after they've been sleeping together all week? You know we have to stay warm. What's wrong? You don't mind, do you? She teases, getting a huff from Luffy. I'm going to get some more meat, stay here, I'll be right back. He stands up. She looks around at the sky. Hey, it's almost dark, let's just go to bed. She suggests that if this is a party we need food. And why are we going to bed so early? He asks, getting a worried look from her. I'll be right back, I think I saw their home nearby, I'll just swipe one and be back in a jiffy, promise. he says confidently, giving her his straw hat. He snickers. She groans worriedly as he walks into the jungle, the light of fire unable to reach him anymore as he fades into the dark jungle. She sighs, he's been to the jungle during the day, but at night. An anxiety floods her stomach as she nervously gazes out into the dark, the midnight wind rustling the trees and brush. She turns back to the warm fire, chills crawling up her spine as she nervously awaits his return. She touches the rim of his hat, she hasn't worn it in so long. She smiles as memories of their adventures flood through her mind, remembering the day he beat down Arlong. She sniffles, reminding herself of that day and the real reason she joined his crew. Her concentration broken as a low growl is heard from the brush behind her. She gulps as her heart beats faster, goosebumps crawling up her skin as tears form in the corner of her eyes. Another low growl, and another, she hears them walk into the small clearing. Shivering, she slowly looks up, seeing her surrounded by the animals they've been eating the past week. A hungry glare in their eyes as they surround her. She looks back at the fire, holding her arms she silently whimpers. Flashes of their time on the island go through her mind as she softly sobs beneath his hat, feeling fear and anxiety run through her body. She thinks about Luffy, what happened to him, where is he, does he know, why did he have to go into the jungle at night, why isn't he here, he promised her, he said everything will be alright, why did he leave her, does he care at all, am I going to die? She closes her eyes, hearing a loud roar before she feels a sharp pain in her back. As she falls onto the ground below, she screams in pain as her back burns and hurts aggressively. A loud roar as she cries his name, but the roar is cut short, whimpers and footsteps walking away as she sobs into the dirt below her, her mind blacking out, only feeling pain before a loud crunch is heard behind her. She hears footsteps rush to her, picking her up, and they try to call her name. She whimpers and mumbles, feeling only pain. She passes out, feeling them rush up a staircase. She feels warm, a soft kind of warm as she lays on her stomach. She opens her eyes to the pillow she sewed. It's quite comfortable compared to a pile of leaves. She pushes herself off the bed before a sharp pain runs down her back. Gasping, she falls back on the bed, shuddering as the pain subsides. She groans into the pillow, lifting her head, and she tries to look over her shoulder, a bandage wrapped around her torso covered in red. Worried, she looks around, finding his hat on the stand next to the bed, a little leaf of berries sitting just next to it. She tries sitting up again, pushing through the large pain in her back. She whimpers, turning to sit up in the large bed. She slowly climbs off the bed, holding onto the wall, as she struggles to make it to the small window to the left of the bed. She looks out, seeing a bright and wonderful day. She looks down at the fire, seeing Luffy cooking meat. As he cleans the skin of another animal, she notices he isn't wearing his red vest anymore, seeing him in a fur vest and shorts. Feeling a cool breeze, she's reminded of her clothes. Looking down, she finds herself. She blushes, walking away from the window to some drawers. She opens one, finding a fur crop top and a fur skirt. Realizing she doesn't have underwear, she groans annoyingly. As she on her clothes, carefully putting on the top, she hears someone walking up the stairs, figuring it's him. She groans angrily, planning to give him quite the talk about yesterday. She sees him open the door, walking in with a somber expression. Luffy. She calls out to him, watching his somber expression change to a warm one as tears go down his face. Nami. She yells, running to her, hugging her head as he cries. She's happy to see him, but is confused as to why he's crying. Where were you? She yells, pushing him away as she glares at him. He wipes away his tears with a smile. I was so worried about you after I patted you up, you didn't wake up, and I felt really guilty for leaving you at the site. He confesses. She growls, tears start forming in her eyes. Why did you leave? She yells, why did you have to leave at night? Just for some stupid meat. What the hell? I nearly died because you left me. Her enraged voice slowly turns to sobbing as tears run down her face. Idiot. Dumbus. Stupid. Retard. She yells, sobbing as she falls to the floor crying. She hears some rustling before feeling the ground vibrate slightly as she hears something drop in front of her. It's Skin. As I reached their home, I found it empty, so I quickly ran back, finding you with a large slash on her back and trying to slash you again. I beat it, he says in a somber voice. She looked at the skin, cleaned and everything. I kinda smashed his head in, so I cut off the face. He admits. She whimpers, standing up, and she lunges at him, hugging him tightly as she sobs into his dot. IWW was so scared she holds him as hard as she can. She feels him gently hug her back. I'm sorry, I won't leave again, he says with a sniffle, holding her close. As they hug, she can feel more scars on his body. It's not like he meant for her to end up like this. She regrets her final thoughts, feeling horrible for thinking he doesn't care about her. As they sit in front of the fire eating, she sniffles, eating some berries. Here's some water. He says, passing her a bowl. She graciously accepts, drinking it slowly. I'm sorry for saying those things. She murmurs, you're fine. If only I'd been there, he says, tearing the meat off the bone. As she leans forward to set down the bowl, a sharp pain runs through her back. Is it bad? She asks him, trying to get a better look at her back. She's reminded of how she was, and why was I, she asks sternly, watching him sweat bullets. You've been out for 3 days, and I couldn't fix the cut with your clothes on, which reminds me that I have to clean it again today. He explains. She pouts, knowing he saw her again. How do you know all this? She asks. He sighs, scratching his head. 2 years in the wild. You learn things, is all he says before eating another piece of meat. She sighs as she thinks about a few minutes ago. She's reminded of something. Did you put my clothes together? She asks with a suspicious gaze on him, hearing him gulp. Yeah, I tried to get you clothes so you can wake up. Your bikini and jeans were covered in blood. She groans. And what of my underwear? Captain. He looks at her, confused. What's underwear? In that one moment she realizes he's in fur shorts with no underwear, and she's in a skirt with no underwear. She blushes profusely at the thought of going commando with him. You seriously don't know what underwear is? She asks, embarrassed, feeling a small breeze graze over her bare core. He scratches his head. I don't. Is it important? He asks. Her frustration rises, closing her eyes as she holds her skirt down. She glares at him. Give me the skin. I'm making myself underwear. She shouts. She makes a pair of panties out of the beast that slashed her back, feeling a little tingly down there as her fur grazes over her core. Thank God there was enough to make it look good. She says, walking back out into the open. She sees Luffy cleaning another skin. Do we need so much? She asks. If we want to be warm. He says, scraping the flesh off the hide. She gulps, walking away from the smell as she sits next to the fire. She glances at the ground, noticing a small pool of dried blood. She thanks Luffy in her head. If he wasn't there, she would have surely never made it out of that situation. So what happened when I was asleep? She asks, sitting in front of the fire with his hat on. She hears him sigh, seeing him sit on the log to her right. She stands up, moving to sit next to him as she rests her head on his shoulder. Just a lot of gathering. I'd check on you every few minutes to see if you needed new bandages. He explains. She snuggles against his shoulder, feeling warmer as she wraps her arm around his. Where did you sleep? She yawns, feeling warm next to him. I slept on the floor next to you and didn't want to wake up from a punch to the face. He chuckles. She giggles, closing her eyes. You can always sleep next to me. She says quietly, feeling safe, warm, and happy next to him. But aren't you always talking about a girl and her privacy? He retorts. She pinched his rubber arm. Dummy, all we have now is each other. We need to stay warm. I need you, so please sleep next to her, murmurs quietly, falling asleep on his shoulder. As she sleeps, her mind turns a calm orange. A satisfying warmth envelops her as she dreams. She feels a soft cushion and a warm body beside her. She snuggles against the warm body, feeling satisfied. She opens her eyes, gazing at the large X across his muscle dot. She hears his small snores as he hugs her close. She gazes at his shoulder and arms, seeing little cuts across his body. She grazes over them with her delicate fingers, feeling the dip. She notices he isn't wearing his vest. Guess he likes to sleep shirtless. She sighs, still feeling tired. She snuggled against him, trying to sleep again before a loud rumbling shakes him awake. What was that? She whispers. She sees him gaze out the window. No clue. He says, sitting up. He grabs his vest, walking off the bed as he gazes outside. She sits up, feeling the pain run down her back. It doesn't hurt as much anymore. What do we do? She asks. He sighs, gazing out at the sunny day. Let's just hope we encounter that thing. As they eat food next to the fire, the ground rumbles again. She grabs his arm, groaning nervously. It's fine, I'm not getting anything. As she looks at his confident gaze, her heart throbs a pleasant beat. So how do you use it? She asks. Well, it's kinda complicated. He says, scratching the back of his head. Could you teach me? She asks, looking up at him. She sees him think about it for a moment. I don't know if I can, plus you might already have it. She thinks about his words. What do you mean? She asks, confused. I mean, just think about it for a moment. How could you have sensed dangerous weather? He says. Her mind blows. She thought it was just instinct and experience, but I guess I never thought about it like that. Well, we can talk about it later. I saw some weird berries further in the jungle and wanted to pick them, but I could use some extra hands. He smiles. She hasn't been in the jungle that much, mostly staying at the house, carving bowls or cutting skin to make more clothes. She thinks about it for a moment. While she is scared of what they may encounter, she knows he'll protect them okay. But I'm not as strong as you, so you'll have to carry most of them. She says, getting a chuckle out of him. Of course. Bug. She yells, running behind him, gripping his body tightly. They left shortly after eating, making about halfway until this incident. He laughs, flicking away the small spider. Nami. It's just a small spider. He laughs, getting a knuckle to the dome of his head. Ass. What if it bit me? She yells, stretching his ear as he groans in a daze, mumbling incoherently, you know I hate bugs. He regains consciousness and chuckles nervously. Yeah, I know, just even after everything you went through, you're still scared of bugs. She groans, annoyed. Why did she think he could ever be a knight in shining armor? As they walk further into the jungle, they find a tree with a fruit in the shape of a heart. He plucks it off the tree as they both study it. Is this it? She asks. He shakes his head. Nope, or at least this isn't what I saw, he says, sniffing the fruit. Very sweet. She takes it from him, sniffing it herself. It's sweet, but is it safe? She asks. Only one way to find out. He states. He tosses it to a random animal they found as they hid in the bushes. They watch the cat like a beast sniffing it before gobbling it down. They watch it for a few minutes and see no side effects. Well, with it must be good. He says, gobbling one of the fruits. Are we sure that's enough time to see the side effects? She asks, getting a nod from Luffy. Yep, I saw another fruit that completely melted the flesh off a beast like that one. She groans, feeling anxious that there's a fruit that could melt flesh. As they pick these heart fruits, she glances at him, seeing no side effects as he gobbled a few more down, enjoying its taste. She picks one, admiring its pink color. She sniffs it again, still sweet. She reluctantly takes a bite, chewing before getting hit with a beautifully rich sweetness that makes Mycons look like vegetables. She finishes it as they walk back home, their baskets full of these wonderful berries. As they walk, she notices him breathing heavily. Maybe he's carrying too much, but one basket full isn't that heavy. Are you okay? She asks him to walk next to him. Huh? Oh. Nami. Hi. Yeah, I'm fine, he says with a slur, avoiding eye contact with her. She notices him sweating profusely. She gently holds his hand, feeling his burning body heat for a moment before he pulls his arm away, gasping. Luffy? She asks worriedly. He blows on his hand as he shivers. She groans, hoping this wasn't caused by the fruit. Luffy? She asks him again. He glances at her before looking back at the jungle surroundings. Yes, Nami, what's wrong? Does your back hurt? I should clean it again. He says quickly. Her anxiety builds as he quivers slightly. My back is fine, what's going on? She asks earnestly, hoping to get an honest answer. Nothing. Just feeling jittery. He says, playing with his fingers as he groans frustratingly. They all make it back to the fire. She feels herself burning up and sweating. She stopped looking at him because something just drove her mad about him. She concludes it was the fruits, and she thinks it's a fever, but as the day passes she gets hotter and restless, coming to a new conclusion that it makes people hot, aggressively hot, and she only ate one. She can't even imagine how many 3 would do. As Luffy cooks the meat, she excuses herself, saying she has to go to the restroom, when in actuality she goes to her usual spot restroom. Pulling down her panties, lifting her skirt, she rubs one out. It's hard, fast and messy. While having major satisfaction, it's also unbearably unsatisfying, driving her core further into insanity as she fails to resist her urges. She groans in defeat. Walking back to the camp, she glances at him behind the brush, seeing something she never thought she would. Soft groans fill the clearing as she watches in secret behind a bush. He's jerking off. She stares, feeling her core clench on nothing as it aches for him. She doesn't want this. She doesn't want to do this with him. Well, a fruit messes with their mind. She resists her urges, but can't look away from his performance. His face looks like he's struggling, looking almost pale, like it's difficult. She sees his aggressive strokes, beating it hard and fast. He's really struggling, and her core is really needing something. She takes a chance, walking out into the open with a blush pink face as she awaits him to realize she can see him. His movements slow down as his pants become harder, ultimately halting his strokes. I made a mistake, sorry, he groans, glancing up at her with fearful eyes. Her heart throbs, and her core tightens. She thinks of words, but as she stares she's unable to find any. She sees him groan as he scratches his head. I don't do this often, he admits, letting go of his rock hard. He grips his hair. You sleep, I'll be out here, he says. Standing up, he pulls up his shorts before stopping as her hand halts his pants. You are not gonna get away with this. We both have no idea, no experience. But you caused this, you will take responsibility for this, she says lustfully, lifting her skirt. For someone immune to poison, you sure can get influenced by a fruit. She tugs his vest to her, pressing her against his as they stare into each other, driven by lust and need. But he says before she halts his words with a small dot. Shut up, just do what you need to, I'm sure I'd be good, she says, licking her fingers as she strokes his dot. Nami? He groans, gritting his teeth. If you don't like it, then do something about it, she says, getting a small smirk from him. Her heart tightens as she imagines what he could be thinking with that. So I just do what I need to? He asks, grabbing her arms, pushing her back, pinning her against a tree. She giggles hotly, seeing him sweaty, tanned, ripped, with a seductive smirk and fearful eyes. Do I need to repeat myself? She murmurs, biting her lip as she sways her hips. Hearing him growl, she whimpers, waiting for what he'll do. You said we're new to this, are you sure? He asks. She pouts, feeling herself dribble as she soaks up. Good God, you're finally into women and you aren't accepting her consent. He stares into her eyes. She licks her, hooking her leg around his. What does that mean? He asks, ruining the mood. She huffs furiously. You can make clothes from animal hides and build a treehouse, but you don't know what consent means. She says in a low tone as she aches. I didn't learn stuff like that. He says, I guess I should have expected this considering you lived near an entire island of women and did nothing, she murmurs, sighing. Do you at least know what it is? She begs as she struggles further, amazed and pissed he hasn't done anything yet. Well, Gramps told me some things, so I just put the thing in thing. He says. She whimpers, take off my clothes before you put your thing in my thing. Don't want to get them dirty, she mumbles. He lets go of her wrists, reaching her crop top. He pulls it off her head. She covers her as her face blushes. Sorry, force of habit. She slowly moves her arms to her sides. Undoing her skirt, she lets it fall. He stares in awe at her peaks. She can feel his gaze become hungry, something she's never seen from him like this. She gulps, finally pulling down her panties and struggling to hold her arms away. She pouts as he takes his time taking in her form before he speaks in a low tone she's never heard from him. You're so beautiful. As all he says, her gaze darts to him as he moves closer, stripping himself of his vest. She gazes at his scarred-up body, feeling her heart pound quicker. He reaches his pants as he presses his bare against her, trapping her between himself and the tree as he rides himself off his pants. His eyes unfocused, lust-driven as he strokes her body, dragging his index across her stomach, pressing gently into her firm as he drags it back down to her thigh, just barely missing her core. Her breath hitches, she can't even fathom the fact he's teasing her like this. As he teases her sensitive body, she can feel a burning hardness against her thigh. She tries to speak but is halted by his gaze, powerful, feral, lustful. She loses her voice as he moves his face closer, a mere centimeter away. Their noses touch. As he halts his strokes against her body, she feels it. It gently caresses her entrance as it burns her virgin folds to open up. Her walls unclench as they make way for the king. Her breath speeds up as his tip graces her ass with its presence as they never break eye contact. Never before has she felt this way, a mixture of fear, control, and care in all his movements. Like everything is for a purpose, he pushes in, gently opening her up to him as she feels a man, not a king, grace her like this. Tears fill her eyes as a sharp pain strikes her core before it's soon halted by his. It's greedy and selfish, but she'd never ask for more from him. As he fills her completely, her ache turns to ecstasy as her eyes roll back in the, secreting her warm liquids onto her king. She can't believe she's finally done it, and with him, her mind taking continuous stimuli shorts out as her mind goes blank. She awakes the next morning in bed, laying next to a sleeping Luffy. She groans as she feels her lower half ache. It's chilly, and she's never felt this open before. She opens her eyes as the sun appears through the window. She feels his arms wrap around her as he snores silently behind her. Why am I with him? She asks. Her head aches as she tries to remember the prior night, only remembering Luffy acting weird after eating 3 of those weird heart fruits. She turns around to stare at his sleeping face. As she turns, she feels a wetness between her legs, reaching between her thighs. She feels her soaking wet folds. I guess we found out why they look like hearts, she says, tapping his stretched arm. He groans. Luffy, wake up, she says. He huffs, rolling over, taking her with him. She giggles at his playful sleeping. We gotta eat sometime, after she says that he sits up with her in his arms. Why is it so cold? Why am I and why are you, he asks. She sighs, figuring he wouldn't know we had Luffy. She looks up at his confused face, contouring to one of fear. He slowly lets go of her body. He crawls out of bed and jumps out the window. She sighs. I'm not mad, dummy. We have to get rid of them. He asks, carrying the basket of fruits back to where they found them. I don't want to forget the previous night. I want to do it and remember, she murmurs, carrying a smaller basket full. We don't have to, we have other things to worry about, he says nervously. She stops, turning to him. You don't want to experience ecstasy with me again? She asks with a glare. He shivers. That's not it. We don't even know if it's extreme, he shouts. She sighs. It's ecstasy, Captain. She says, turning back to the path, continuing to walk. Right. If we don't remember, how would we know? He asks. We don't. So why don't we try again? She says seductively, turning to him. She takes wide steps as she walks to him with a hot smirk. Let's see if all those rumors are true. It is just you and me after all. She purrs, pressing her against his. Nami asks worriedly, as she purrs into his flashes of the night before shooting through her head, giving her delayed simulations. Do you really not care? She asks earnestly. I just don't see it as all that important. We're just sticking my thing in your thing and making a baby. Which I don't think would survive out here. She sighs. He's making a good point. Can't we just do it cause it's fun? She asks, getting a weird look from him. It's only been a few months. We still have to prepare for winter. We don't really have time for fun. He says sternly, walking past her. He waits a few feet ahead. She whimpers softly, feeling like she's hit a nerve with him. She looks down, walking behind him in silence. They make it to the trees, dumping the baskets of the fruit. She sighs, sitting on one of the tree's roots as she watches him pull out some berries and a weird bag. She might have scared him with her comments. She doesn't like him when he isn't himself. She sees him glance at her, holding out the bag to her. She reluctantly takes it, feeling bad. What's in it? She asks. Water. He says, eating a berry. How'd you get a bag? She asks, drinking the water. Animal bladder. He says blankly. She stops drinking and sprays the water in his face. Bleh. She gags, coughing. Bros, she groans in disgust, looking at Luffy she gasps. Seeing his face drip water like sweat, she pouts once again, doing something wrong. Sorry. She murmurs, feeling like shit for not just spitting on his face, but wasting drinkable water. No, I'm sorry, I guess I'm just frustrated, he says, wiping the water off his face as he looks down at the dirt. It's just been so hard lately, not ever since we got here. It's been hard. Fighting off these animals, protecting you, cooking food, getting skin for clothes, sticks for fire. He chuckles, I guess I'm just complaining, but that night really scared me. She knows what night he talks about, the night she nearly died, a scar embedded in her back, a reminder of his near failure to save her. I was almost alone. I'd rather be dead than alone, he admits. She stomps over to him, slapping his face. Don't say that. Not you. She shouts as tears run down her face. She can't believe he said that. He said that. He gulps, turning back to her. You can't say that, not you, that word is not you, she sobs. It's okay to be selfish, but how can you not be alone when you're dead? She yells, gritting her teeth as she falls to her knees, sniffling. Where's Luffy? Where's my captain? She shouts into the sky. The ground rumbles as a loud roar fills the silence. Something charges, its footsteps like a raging storm getting louder. Before she could speak, he grabs her waist, seeing fear in his eyes for a moment as he dashes through the jungle as fast as he can, as the storm rages closer to them, roaring again as the ground quakes. What? She cries, staring into the sky above when she sees it. A giant white gorilla. She watches its first turn shiny black as it smashes the ground, launching Luffy and Nami into the sky. She gazes down at the large ape. It roars, releasing a blast of conquest, sending fear and anxiousness down her spine. She gasps, gazing down at the immense white gorilla, its display of haki feeling overwhelming. She sees Luffy grasp her waist, putting her over his shoulder. He stretches his arm back down to the jungle floor, swinging off it like a monkey. He swings from tree to tree as quickly as he can, hearing the large ape roar once again. As she watches the ape rush at them, her mind goes blank in fear, the mixture of his and the slight quivering of Luffy, sending her mind for a toxic loop of hell. Her mind becomes hazy, seeing the ape jump again, displaying that he shatters the ground beneath him. For a second she can feel Luffy trip up from the blast, but continues running. The ape's ferocity is on full display as she passes out from fear, feeling her body go limp and numb on Luffy's shoulder. She awakes to the crackling of fire, feeling heat envelop her. She opens her eyes, slightly blinded by the light of the bonfire. She sits up, feeling her stomach churn as she recollects what happened. She gazes around the fire looking for Luffy. She doesn't see him. Her body begins to quiver. Remembering the last time he left her alone in the dark, her back scar pulsates, feeling heat go down her back as she holds herself tightly. She softly whimpers, from the attack that a few nights ago and the gorilla she feels weak, worthless, helpless. She remembers Luffy. He ran from the gorilla. He remembers his gaze of fear as he grabbed her and ran. Fear runs through her body like a plague, giving her goosebumps as she feels alone. He said he'd rather die than be alone. Before she could cry, she hears him walk down the stairs. As he reaches the fire, she gazes up at him. He looks horrible, tired, exhausted, almost mortified, a look he should never have. Luffy? She softly calls out to him. He glances at her, his expression unchanged. Is there something wrong? He says in a blank voice. She's scared. He's not his usual self. He's not a captain. He's not Luffy. She gulps, shaking her head. Never mind, she says quietly, holding herself closely. They eat in silence. As she eats, she glances at him. He's not eating, he's just staring at his food with a depressing look. She blames herself. She slapped him, yelled at him, and kept trying to push herself onto him, but then he shouldn't have said that. He shouldn't have said he'd rather die. It's night. She got in bed earlier just after she finished eating. He has yet to come into bed with her. These past few days have been a mess, between her scar, yesterday's desires, and the gorilla with. She can't imagine how exhausted he must feel. She snuggles under the blanket, feeling warmth, but she feels lonely without him. It's like he said, he'd rather die than be alone. She closes her eyes, trying to sleep, imagining she was sleeping in his arms, his warm, safe arms. She tightens her grip on the blanket, groaning. She can't sleep. She opens her eyes. Well, she feels warm under the blanket. It doesn't feel as warm without him. She gets out of bed, wrapping herself in a fur robe she's really proud she made. She opens the door, walking down the steps to find him sitting in the same spot, his food next to him. Luffy? She calls out from behind him, feeling the cool air hit her. No response from him. She gently grabs his shoulder, gripping her robe closed. Luffy? She calls out to him again in a worried tone. No response again, her worries for him slowly turning to a pissy one. She firmly shakes his shoulder. Luffy? She yells out to him, wanting his attention. She hears him sniffle. Her body freezes, her grip loosens. Is he crying? Sorry, he slurs. Sounds like he's been crying. Her heart sends pain through her body at the hearing of his words. I shouldn't be saying things like that. He continues. Her heart clenches in her. She feels tears building up in her eyes as she hugs him tightly. Please, can we go to bed? She whimpers into his neck, begging him to sleep. He stands up, he leans forward lifting her off the ground. He grabs her legs, piggybacking her. She holds his neck tightly, confused about what he's doing. "Yeah, you're probably tired," he murmurs. Carrying her up the stairs, he takes her. He sets her down on the bed, laying next to her, but not too close. She pouts, hugging him tightly as they lay in bed. No more boundaries. He tries to move away, but she holds on tighter, knowing he'll just get up real early. Grabbing the blanket, he sighs, covering them both. He probably feels guilty. In hopes to ease his worries, she gives a small to his bare back, feeling slightly embarrassed by her action, even though they had last night, and doesn't remember anything about it. Quiet snores fill the room. He's passed out cold. She smiles cutely at him, pressing her head gently against his bare back, feeling his warmth. It's been so scary, and she still doesn't know what happened with the ape, but she hopes to find out as soon as he feels better. Until then, she wants to help him. The scar on her thumb has healed and her back is better. She's all set to help around, so he can finally have his break from protecting, feeding, and fixing her up all the time. It's all been him. About time she pulled her weight and maybe showed him a good time while she's at it. As she wakes up the next morning, she shifts, feeling a tight hold on her. She groans tiredly, feeling something press against her body. She shifts her arms more, feeling hair. She opens her eyes, finding his face stuffed in her, feeling his soft breaths between her full. As she wraps her arms around his head, keeping him there, she feels his arms go around her waist, along with a gentle caressing over the scar across her back. She notices her fur top lifted so he can stuff his face between her s. She gulps, her mind finally waking up. She looks down at him, her nips in full view just beside his head, and she feels his other hand stuffed in her skirt. She pulls away gently, nearly falling out of bed. She catches herself. Fixing her top, she glances down at him. She sees him struggle slightly before gripping the blanket tightly. She pouts at this, gently ruffling his hair before feeling the cool morning breeze and a dozen shivers down her spine. She shivers, quickly grabbing her robe. She puts on fur shorts, the longest one she has, and a fur tank top, putting the robe back on. She walks outside, feeling the cold grass between her toes. She stares down at the dead bonfire, must have gone out last night. She quickly grabs some sticks and small logs she can carry, placing them in a circle of rocks. She grabs the two weird rocks he uses, trying to copy him. She scrapes the rocks together to no avail. After a few minutes of trying, she creates sparks. Going over the wood, she repeats her action, creating a small fire on the sticks. She gently blows on it, spreading the blaze further and further on the pile. Feeling proud of herself, she eats a few berries. She carefully placed a rock over the burning fire. Following the trail they made to the small pond, she grabs a large palm leaf, dipping it into the water. Filling the leaf, she brings it back, placing the leaf over the hot rock, boiling it. She made a fire and got water going. Food, on the other hand, is another story. She can pick berries, but having the same berries every day can get boring. She makes sure he's asleep before pulling out a small stash of 3 pink heart fruits, the same fruit that made them burn up and have a night they don't remember. She is desperate for something different, but doesn't want to forget a potential night off. She doesn't know why, but after that night with him she feels more heated. Well, they may come across trouble that just makes her more desperate for him. She sighs, putting the stash away, and she goes back to reluctantly eating berries, holding this time they can make it over to the berries they were initially looking for. She groans, things have gotten shit for her, but it doesn't compare to him. As she looks at the sky, she notices a slight change in the weather, and for a split second feels a powerful presence just near her. She looks around confused before glancing up at the home they've built, right, Luffy? She wonders if that was for a moment, but returns to the weather. The clouds shift a grayish blue before noticing white dots falling from the sky snow. She questions, putting a hand out, watching a snowflake melt in her palm. After a few minutes she begins shivering, the air turning cooling as she sits next to the fire, making a fur coat and pants. Her cheeks, nose, ears, and fingers turn rosy red. As she makes the coat, she thinks about the potential issues that may come with the winter. Sickness, food, water, warmth, and shelter, the basics that need to be covered as soon as possible before it starts pulling up. She realizes she can't do it on her own. She reluctantly goes to wake him up, knowing he needs the sleep. As she walks in, she sees his sleeping face. His cheeks, nose, and ears are just as red as hers. She feels him gently shivering. Glancing at the window, she knows they'll have to make curtains or a seal. Luffy gently rubs his arm. He groans, turning in his sleep. He drools. "That's my meat," he says sleepily. She giggles, holding his hand. She feels how cold his fingers are, feeling a bit more anxious. "Luffy," she says more firmly, his arm tighter. He groans, stretching in bed, and he opens his eyes. "Nami. Shouldn't you be asleep?" he mumbles, waking up to the cool air. He kicks the blanket off, sitting on the edge of the bed. "Aren't you cold like that?" she asks, noticing his lack of vest or shirt. He shrugs. "It's not that cold, but why are you awake?" he asks while still waking up. "I just wanted to help out. You've been doing everything because I keep getting hurt," she explains. "Nami, those were my faults. If I didn't put you in those situations you wouldn't have gotten hurt." His voice becomes quieter, he stands up walking to his pile of fur clothes and pulls out a vest. I don't want you getting hurt, you can help out, but you don't have to do anything if you don't want to. He says before leaving the home. She groans annoyed, it's usual for him to put the difficult task on himself. He doesn't care for his own safety, as long as his friends are okay, friends. Somehow that word twists her heart, she deeply cares about him, but being friends. That word to describe their relationship makes her nauseous, before this best friend would describe them perfectly, now. She walks outside seeing him eat some berries in front of the fire. I'll get some meat in a few minutes. He says, completely forgetting the conversation. She gulps, sitting a feet away from him in front of the fire. She continues on the coats, she never thought this day would turn out like this. From looking so cute this morning he's turned to a real sourpuss, the whole point of him sleeping was so he'd wake up better, he seems better, he doesn't look exhausted, he just looks like he's waking up. She doesn't respond to him, figures he would understand, he didn't say anything about how she set up and just used her setup to get more water going. After he came back from hunting he set up meat over the fire as usual, cleaned the skin as usual. She likes how they do things, but he isn't himself. Yes, she's always yelling at him to be more serious and think more. But this isn't what she had in mind, he's not just serious, he is overprotective, he isn't fun like that time on the beach, he isn't eating as much as he used to. He doesn't smile anymore, he always seems to be ready for a fight and comes back with new cuts and scratches, but doesn't bother with them. If she wants Luffy back she'll have to take control, show him better before winter time. She glances up at the sky, the snowfall died down a few minutes ago, but the clouds still remain, the beach won't really work cause it's still cold out, it has to be here, but she has no idea how to get him to have fun. Normally food, but he doesn't catch enough to warrant a feast, it's just enough to fill their bellies. She thought of some games, but I'd be kinda tough surrounded by a forest full of dangerous animals. Maybe a walk. A way to clear his head might do the trick. Luffy? She stands up staring down at him, he glances up at her. Yes. She grabs his arm dragging him away from the fire, taking him down the trail to the beach. We're going for a walk. She states, reaching the beach she stands him up, admiring the cool tones over the sandy beach. Nami, we have stuff to do. He says, she firmly grips his rubber arm keeping him in place. We are going for a walk. She repeats more firmly, almost demanding, he sighs, nodding. They walk down the beach, as they walk she holds his hand tightly, taking glances at him, she notices his sleepy details fading the further they walk. After a while he returns the hand holding, gently grasping her hand, she glances up at him again, he looks better, not smiling, but better. They take a small break on a log, staring out into the sea, she thinks they're about halfway across the island from where they were. I'm sorry. He says, she turns to him before staring back at the ground. It's fine, you've been doing everything. That's not fair to you, and you deserve a break too. She says. He sighs staring down at his arms, he looks at the small cuts from the animals of this island. Thank you, for the walk. It was nice. He says. His words warm her heart, he sounds better, we should go on more walks. She suggests we'll need plenty of breaks during our stay. He nods, staring out into the ocean. She glances at his eyes, earlier she saw exhaustion and fear, but now his eyes shine against the glow of the sun, his gaze more determined, a small smile lets itself out as she looks at him, he's a bit tired, but it's him. Luffy. He turns to her. What's up? Her smile widens hearing him say that, she scoots closer to him sitting shoulder to shoulder. She gently holds his hand, intertwining her fingers with his. What do you want to do next? She asks, feeling the happiest she's been since they came here. Well, we're near the fruits I was talking about, we can swing by and pick them up and quickly head back. He says, she thinks for a moment. Speaking of fruits, what happened with the? She stops, hoping he gets the hint. His face contorts to a nervous one. Right, the ape. So I basically just ran away from it, I tried hitting it to no avail. Then I tried hitting it harder since that works most of the time, but it didn't. At some point I just lost it. He says. So it's still running around? She asks, he nods, scratching the back of his head. Well, I have to avoid it. So we run in and run out. She yells, holding onto the large fruit as tightly as possible in Luffy's arms as he sprints across the jungle with the ape charging at them. Damn it. That bastard caught us with he shouts, trying to lose the ape beneath the trees. It roars, letting out a burst of force causing Luffy to trip up for a moment before regaining his footing. Luffy. We have to stop him. Show him who's king. She shouts up at him, he huffs taking a glance over his shoulder. Nami, I tried. What the heck is making these animals so strong? As he says that she glances at the large fruit they were after this whole time, it's not very heavy for its size, it's yellow with faint greenish veins spouted randomly across the fruit. Could it be this? She suggests, he glances down at the fruit. She nods. It's the biggest fruit we've seen, this ape would have a large appetite for its eyes, it's so fussy because other animals have been eating its food. She yells at him about her theory, he glances at her, shrugging. I would be pissed too, but we really aren't losing this guy. He stops, turning to face the ape. She whimpers. What happened to all that talk about doing nothing? She shouts fearfully as it approaches rapidly. I have a plan, but I need you to run. I can't hurt it, but I can push it back. Just follow the trail home, I promise I'll be back. He explains as quickly as possible as his arm turns black. You said you won't do that again. You said you wouldn't leave me alone again. She shouts, pulling his arm, flashes of that night cycle in her head, feeling nauseous from the thought of him leaving her alone again like this. Look. This will be quick, I'm just gonna push it back and head straight for you. He grabs her hand firmly, staring into her eyes determined. Please, I will catch up. She feels her stomach churn, she's trusting him to be there, she nods reluctantly running into the jungle, tears swell in her eyes. It's not like that night, he won't be late, he will be there. She hears him yell something from behind her, she doesn't look back. A few seconds of silence before a loud powerful gust knocks her off her feet, nearly blowing the trees over. She closes her eyes expecting to hit the ground before she feels the breeze blow against her. She struggles to open her eyes as they push through the air quickly. You okay? He asks her, she peeks through an eye at him, surprised that his hair is long, his forehead is black along with his neck. What? She shouts, he chuckles, landing them safely on the ground. She stumbles, falling on her as she stares up at him. The on his forehead stretches down to his neck, avoiding his arms as they outline his abs going down his legs coated in, his thighs similar to his bounce man arms, while his ankles are like twigs. What? She repeats confused, she hasn't seen this gear before. He chuckles, gear for Bullet Man. He says before vanishing before her eyes, I'm basically fast. He says from behind her, startling her. She gulps, loving the way he outlines his abs. He actually looks kinda badass, not like Snake Man, but hotter than Bounce Man. So how did you do it? She asks. I basically kicked him. He uses the elasticity in his legs, in his leg and thigh. He releases it, sounding like a cannon. He obliterates a tree and anything behind it in a straight line. Wow. And that didn't hurt it? She questions. He chuckles nervously. Well no, but he's on the other side of the island now. He turns back to normal, taking the fruit from her. Come on, let's go home. He holds out his hand to her with a smile. She looks up at him, finally a smile. She smiles back with a huff, taking his hand. He pulls her up. It feels weird calling it home. He grins. It's home until Sunny gets here. She sighs, following behind him if it ever does. Well, let's hope this is good if that ain't jazzed us down for it. She says, feeling nervous. Once they got home they split the fruit in two, one for him and one for her. If her theory is correct, this could potentially make them stronger, but it's just a stupid theory to explain the strong animals. Let's eat. He shouts, taking a huge bite out of the fruit. She's happy he's better, so happy she can't help but smile every time she glances at him. She feels almost infatuated with him, it's kinda weirding herself out. She takes a bite of the fruit, a bit sour, but overall very delicious, as she watches Luffy comp down the fruit. No physical changes, he burps laughing, no mental changes either. She sighs, continuing to eat her fruit. I guess I was wrong. He pats her back. It's okay to be wrong. As long as you learn. As he pats her back she burps loudly, she covers her mouth embarrassed as her face flushes red. He laughs hysterically, getting a grumble from her. Dang Nami, never thought I'd hear one from you. She groans, it's a natural bodily function. She shouts, hitting him in the head as hard as she can. He laughs, falling on the ground with a large bump on his head. The rest of the night was cold. She got curtains hung up so that helped, but it was still cold, so she took it upon herself to cuddle next to him. Sure, she's abusing the cold so you feel his warmth, but he gets to feel her body press against him, so it's fair. So warm, she mumbles. He huffs. We really need more blankets. He says. She giggles playfully. I'll work on it tomorrow. Until then, she strokes his index, feeling frisky suddenly. Why don't we get warmer, she purrs. He jolts, glancing down at her. Nami, I don't know about this. She shifts above him, staring at him with hearts in her eyes. She reaches behind her back, uniting her top. Loofyplease, she begs, letting her top fall, showing off her large bosom. Nami, this is so unlike you, what's going on? He asks. Oh Luffy, I just want to feel hot, come on, it felt good, didn't it? She whines, reaching between them. She tugs on the rim of his pants. We don't remember, let's just go to sleep. You can cuddle as much as you want and put your top back on. He puts on her top for her, even tying it. She pouts, plopping on his, her bosom mushed between them as she glances down at him. A girl has certain needs, Captain. She starts. You never had these needs before. He retorts, shutting down the conversation. She whimpers, her hot feeling turning into an aching one as her pulse with irritation from not receiving him. Luffy. She whines childishly, good night. He says, closing his eyes. He immediately falls asleep. She huffs, laying on him. She closes her eyes, trying to forget her newfound desire for him, and falls asleep. Nami. She hears, purring in her sleep, she arches her back pointing her rear upward, dreaming of a naughty night with Luffy. Nami. She hears again, biting her lip, she grinds softly loofy she murmurs. Nami. He shouts, waking her up, she whimpers, losing her dream. What is it she says before feeling the cold, she shivers, hugging him tightly. He feels odd, bigger almost it snowed last night. And I think your thought might have been right. She looks up at him, she gulps, his body has gotten bigger, she can even reach around him, completely cause his torso has gotten wider, his lower half is slightly bigger, but looks the same. Whoa. Is all she can say, crawling off him she gets out of bed. He stands out of bed, he's gotten taller too I guess that fruit really did this. She says, he nods glancing down at his body. I'm just as weirded out, this is like a few years of growth. He says, stretching his neck to gaze at his body further. She tries to glance at herself, she seems to have gotten taller, her hair is noticeably longer going past her ass. Luffy, do I look different? She asks, he stares at her intently, feeling a bit anxious about his glasses as her heat from last night spikes. You're thicker. She slaps him, you don't say stuff like that to a girl. She shouts at him, he sighs, you're the one who asked. She groans, thick how? She elaborates. You're bigger, your hips are bigger, you're taller, your hair's longer, and you're starting to get abs. She glances at her stomach, feeling it she notices muscles forming ahhh. My perfectly wide body. She shouts in horror. Calm down, you're plenty now. She blushes at his comment, him complimenting on a girl's looks. She suddenly feels pride in her looks. You're not so bad yourself, she murmurs, biting her lip seductively as she stares at his ripped body as he stretches. Their coats are too small now, she sits outside under the blanket making bigger coats for them as he warms up some meat. I guess these fruits weren't such a good idea, he says. Maybe, but they have their merits. She says, referring to his compliment and his looks, and she thought he looked appealing before. By the way, what was that last night? He asks, I just want to do it again. She shouts, feeling somewhat offended. How can I remember my first time with you if we were under the influence of a stupid fruit? Her voice gets more aggressive, a few days have passed since then, and no action. I'm just a bit pent up. You're the one I've chosen, we've only done it with each other, and you don't want to remember it with me? She asks, he glances at the ground. I just don't understand. He says. Luffy, it's a natural thing to feel this way, I'm sorry for asking for it, but I want to have a good fun night with you. Just once a week. Please, this feeling is new and kinda scary, but it's begging me for release, please. She begs, still confused as to why it's making her feel like this now. He sighs, watching the snow around them slowly fade as the sun comes out. Okay, but you have till night. Until night I don't want to hear about it. She nods, her heart beats with anticipation at the thought of tonight, she's really excited, but also kinda scared. He took her purity, but will it hurt because she doesn't remember him taking it? She hums happily, feeling a bit nervous, but knowing it'll come eases her core, it doesn't take any more. As she finishes their new coat, she glances around, noticing the lack of snow from this morning. It's sunny but still chilly, she looks at Luffy, checking the meat. Can we eat today? She asks, he turns to her, nodding. As they eat she still feels chilly, it's not as cold but still cold, she shivers snuggling further into the blanket. She feels him grab her, lifting her onto his lap. He quickly covers himself and her in the blanket. When you made the curtains, it's still so cold. Maybe we need fire in here. He suggests. Her heart soars, feeling him hug her waist. A fire would be good. She mumbles, her mind wandering at the touch of his hot arms against her body. It'll be difficult making a bottom floor for the fire, but I'll try to get it done quickly. He says, she holds his hand tightly. Not now, right? She asks, he huffs, holding her hand under the blanket. Yay, not now, but later today, cause the sooner I get it started the faster we'll be warm. They finish eating and he gets to work. She helps out, drawing him a layout on the ground and how to safely have a fire. As he works on the bottom floor, she notices their clearing has gotten bigger because of the wood he's using. Using the new expanded clearing, she plans to grow berries once winter's over. In the meantime, she works on more blankets and thinks about tonight. I remembered why building this took a week. He huffs, plopping in bed, somewhat tired after a day of working. She gets on the other side of the bed, lifting his head slightly, and she rests him on her thighs. Want to go for a walk? She suggests, looking down at him. She plays with his little strands of hair, noting his hair has gotten longer. It's way too cold for that. You're also really soft. He sighs pleasantly, she giggles, her thumb over the small scar on his cheek. Thanks, but winter isn't for a few more days, there's just a chance of snow like this morning. He groans, she pets his head. We need something to keep the food from going bad. Or else we're kinda screwed before winter even starts. She says, looking down at him for answers. She sees him think for a moment, finding his thinking expression very cute. We could put the meat in a hole in the ground, if it gets cold enough during the winter it'll stay fresh. Putting ice in there might help. He explains, she smiles softly down at him. Good idea, Captain. She says, gently caressing his cheeks cold. He says, of course they are, it's not like we have gloves. Maybe I should get to work on that. She suggests, getting a nod from him as he raises his hands to hers, holding them gently. Don't want you getting cold, is this better? He asks, his warm hands holding her cold hands firmly. She feels how warm he is, finding it pretty intoxicating. It feels wonderful, Captain, thank you. She finds herself staring at him hungrily. They were having a moment, and now these urges will ruin it. Luffy. She says. He hums in acknowledgement, still holding her cold hands. Is it time? She asks with a hooded gaze, feeling her burn as she's waited all day for this night. He looks up at her, her endowed blocking his view of her face, I suppose. He murmurs, her core throbs at his words, finding an instinctual pleasure to please him however she can. She spreads her legs, dropping his head between them. She bends over above him, her just above his face as she stares down at his pants, licking her dot. Nami? He asks from below her, just like last night. Something she craves this, is it because it's, or is it something else? I thought we were doing that other thing. The thing in the thing. He says. She drops her on his face. Do you know what blowjob is, Captain? Did you know Robin has a ton of romance books that go exactly like this? She asks him, lifting her slightly so he can breathe. He says. She giggles, pulling down her shorts above him. She lifts a leg to pull them off, leaving her in her tank top and panties. So, do you know what a blowjob is? She asks, finding her gaze drawn to his pants. I don't, I only know about putting the thing in the thing and making a baby. He says. He gulps as he stares up at her in her fur panties. I heard it's really good for you. She lays on his stomach, arching her back to keep her in the air just above his face. She pats his hips, telling him to lift his waist, and he does. As she pulls down his pants, she sees it. A small flash of memory of their first time comes back to her as she stares at his floppy length. She gulps, bringing her mind back to reality. She stares at it, looking kinda weird, like a sausage. Maybe we should just do it. She thinks, before her body tells her to please him. Her mind flashes images of their first night, showing his pleased expressions from her. She leans forward to sniff it, a heavy musk fills her nose, making her knees weak. Right, they haven't taken a bath or anything like that. She finds it odd they never thought of that. As she stares at his sausage, she pulls down her panties, showing him her moist core as it dribbles on his face. Nami? You okay? He asks. She jolts, gasping as she feels his fingers against her entrance, heavy sparks of pleasure running through her body as she feels his fingers caress her core in such a loving and pleasurable way. Is this supposed to be wet? He asks, pulling his fingers back. He sees her nectar glaze his fingers as it slowly secretes down his hand. He sniffs it, a very unusual smell that sparks a burn within him. She shivers slightly, resting her face just in front of his length as she gazes at it, surprised to find it getting bigger. She whimpers. She never felt that way touching herself before, but then he does it, and it's the best thing ever. She sees his hardening organ. She gently grasps it in her hand, feeling it burn pleasantly. Her lust building as her core craves satisfaction. She drops her on his face, feeling his against her soaking one. She coos, feeling his warm mouth on her bottom one. Nami? He says, grabbing her waist as he sits up, holding her upside down in his arms. She squirms for a moment before holding onto him, her face unintentionally pressed against his hardening junk. Nami, this is all complicated. I have no idea what I'm doing. He says, staring at her butt. She whimpers. I just want this night to be memorable. He sighs, grazing her soaked entrance with his breath. She jolts. If you think about it, it's already memorable because we don't remember it. If your thing is drooling this much, shouldn't we just get to the good part? He asks. She pouts. Why does he have to be a mood killer? Okay. He sets her on the bed. She lays on her back, spreading her legs apart. She watches him stand up as he pulls the rest of his clothes off before joining her in bed again. One day I'll teach you how to make this fun. She proclaims, staring up at him as he moves above her. Weren't you saying we should do this because it's fun? So normal isn't fun? He is confused. She grumbles, whatever. Just put it in. She can't believe it turned out like this, alone on an island, just them together, no distractions or people to bother them, and they can't even enjoy foreplay. As he lines his up, she stares up at him. Ever since they ate that fruit, he's looked much more manly. She raises a hand to his cheek, gently holding his head in her hand. He looks down at her, confused. Am I doing something wrong? He asks. Can you at least me? She asks. Maybe she would make this romantic. Sure. He leans down over her too. As their touch, they feel warm. She tries to make it passionate, but she knows he wouldn't see it that way. With slight frustration, she pulls away, looking away from him. Nami? He asks. Let's just get this over with. She understands he's probably never even considered anything like this. She assumes she's raised her expectations of how he should treat her when she doesn't even know if he feels the same way. He sighs. I'll go slow. He says, pushing in. Her eyes flinch, her voice hitches as she gasps surprised. A hot sensation fills her core completely. Her eyes widen as she grits her teeth, drooling slightly from the intense pleasure. Looks like her assumptions were underestimated. She grabs the blanket beneath her tightly, huffing and panting, her eyes clenching tightly around him. He grunts deeply, holding himself up by his arms on both sides of her head as he pants down at her. Her mind grants her pure pleasure as she remembers the full night he and her did it 8 times that night they forgot about. She looks up at him shuddering, she grabs his wrists, inductively wrapping her legs around his waist. No way, she says. He stares down at her. How did we forget about this? He asks. She whimpers, she feels like she can't breathe from the overwhelming surge of lust their connection has brought them. She murmurs, suddenly he lowers himself to her again for it. To her surprise, he's giving such a lovely, gentle and hot, skyrocketing her pleasure again. He doesn't move either and continues as he pulls back slowly. She is into the feeling his tip rubs against her squishy hot ass as he pulls out. Geez, loosen up, he says, pulling away from it. The pleasure of his her and how hot he's being is mixing in her mind like a smoothie. She giggles seductively. No can do captain. It's not me tightening on you, it's you being too big for me. As she says that, he grins down at her. She gulps as he makes her ass want more. Thank God I'm rubber, he says, pushing into her. She snuggled against him on this chilly morning, remembering last night's list-driven night. She smiles. Opening her eyes, she gazes upon a Luffy sleeping next to her. She purrs, feeling renewed and ready for more. She gently caresses his back, his dot, with last night being opening her eyes to another side of Luffy, a hotter side. She plans to have many more wonderful nights with him. But as she gleefully cuddles with him, heavy winds blow through the curtains, sending shivers down her spine. She groans frustratingly, getting out of bed. She grabs an S on a fur robe, stomping over to the curtains to close them again. Nami? She turns to see an awoken Luffy, his eye as he yawns. We need something to block the wind, she humps, cursing the wind for ruining her time. Damn, I really wanted to sleep more, he yawns again. She jumps into bed, quickly stripping herself of her robe and covering themselves under the big blanket. She cuddles against his body, then let's sleep some more, she growls, gently caressing his dot. He hums, but we have stuff to do. He pouts lightly. She shifts herself, laying on his dot. I think we can sleep more, as long as we stay close and stay warm. She smiles down at him with lidded eyes, planting little on his neck. He groans, closing his eyes. Was last night as good as you thought it was? He asks. She purrs, feeling his softly against her lower stomach. If I could ask for more from you, I would. After a few hours of sleeping and cuddling, they finally get, some more reluctant than others. He goes back to making the bottom floor as she makes more clothes and has finally started to check the meat and has been thinking about a way to get spices or something to make the meat taste better. The bottom floor takes a few days, and when he said once a week he meant it, as he denies her advances, saying once a week, causing her to turn more and more frustrated and tired. From losing sleep to spending any break time trying to get off but can't. Luffy whines, feeling tired and stressed from all the planning and working they've been doing. We can go for a walk, he says, adding the finishing touches to the bottom floor, making sure it wouldn't go ablaze. Just one round, please. She pouts, feeling her core ache. He sighs, can you wait a few more days? She whimpers, her legs together. Luffy, please. She stares into his eyes. He notices her slightly wild hair and dark circles beginning to form under her eyes. Is this seriously stopping you from sleeping? He asks, turning to her. He holds her, taking a good look at her. Nami, he sighs, you need to get cleaned up, winter is just around the corner, and I'll need you for it, he says. She groans, why won't you help? I can hardly think properly or even do anything, she shouts, feeling her frustration build up. He groans, Nami, this is stupid, you're stronger than this. She scoffs, I'm stronger than this? I didn't spend 2 years surviving on an island. I'm worried and scared. All we've been doing is work just so we can survive. Isn't it scary to know that the next day could be our last? What if they don't come? She grumbles. They'll come, he shouts at her. Frightened, she falls to the ground sniffling. He sighs, his face. I know it's scary. I know we've been working so much and the only breaks we get is eating or sleeping. They'll come, we've come together before, we can do it again. He softly strings down at her as she curls up in a ball, silently sobbing. He groans, I get why you're sacred, heck, everything that's happened has sacred me too. But we can't let that get to us. We've fought, and warlords, and even the Marines. I won't allow us to fall back. He takes off his hat, setting it on the ground next to her. If we have to do it again to help you, then we will, he says, grabbing extra skin. He heads up to the house to cover the walls in them. She silently sobs, wondering why she's like this, why she is so hot all the time, why she has to be like this. She feels like she's tearing them apart. They've had so many problems here, it's destroying them. She sniffles, glancing down at his hand. If only she hadn't wanted this. As she rejects her heat, it burns hotter, causing her immense discomfort as she resists her urges. She pushes the hat away. What's wrong with me? Thanks for watching this video. If you really enjoy this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below and turn on that bell notification. See you in the next video. Goodbye.